Hello, and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. So we want to take a look at the Bitcoin chart because we have some movement. Because a lot of people are happy that we finally get a little bit of movement, but not sure how lasting it is. I mean, it pushed a little bit above resistance, but it has not invalidated any further downside. And as I said to you, even if we push above 27,150, and if it is a sustained break, which it seems to be, then yeah, we might push above the 27,700 area in different bearish setups, however. So it would still be most likely further downside that is expected. So we're going to take a look at that in this video because Bitcoin pushed a little bit above the 27,150 level, which is the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement, which now makes other scenarios a little bit more likely. So it's basically a first heads up that a higher move will happen, that price will follow a little higher, but not necessarily bullish. So we're going to talk about that in this video. It might have this little push that happened yesterday, basically overnight, for me here in the UK. That was possibly related, we had a bit of a catalyst there, bit of an external catalyst, and that was apparently here the news that came out about the US debt ceiling. There was a bit of an agreement apparently between Democrats and Republicans. At least they agreed on a deal in principle, which might raise that debt ceiling and avoid a complete meltdown in the US. That's of course positive news. So that is why it might have pushed the current trend, which was up here, a little higher. Okay, so now that we pushed above resistance, what does that mean for our scenarios? So let's take a look at the different scenarios. Want to keep you informed here and want to make you aware of the relevant levels that are important and what we can probably expect in the next few days and next few weeks. But certainly, what are the important levels for the different scenarios? So first of all, this little push, I mean, it's just like $60 above the 78.6 retracement. However, this makes the imminent downside scenario a little less likely. It hasn't invalidated it though. It hasn't invalidated, and as you might remember, we're currently looking at another low, and we're looking at the idea that this is a wave 2, and we were climbing, obviously, since Thursday. We've been climbing a little higher. Yesterday, we looked at the microstructure here and we said, look at the microstructure. We need to wait for a signal that this move up is over. That signal never came. Therefore, further upside is, of course, expected if you are in a short-term uptrend and you do not get a signal that the trend is changing. And the signal would be either a break of the trend line or a break below the X wave low, which would have been more reliable at 26,360. So that never happened. So the short-term view needs to be, we go with the trend, and the short-term or very short-term trend was up, is up, and never broke. I gave you the signal levels that need to be broken so that we can look at the move down, and that never occurred. So that means price decided to push higher, it pushed higher, and we broke above the 78.6 Fib level. Now, we've now reached the 88.7, I believe. So let's just take a look at that. Let's activate the 88.7 Fib level on the chart. Now, that is a level which is still relevant. We could still get rejected. However, any move above the 27,150 level was, a little bit too high for the current scenario. So as I said to you in a previous scenario, in a previous video, we've got the idea that either this is a B wave to the upside. Now, you know that B waves are always a bit difficult. They can always push a little higher. But still, standard Fib resistance would have been all the way up to 27,150. And, there are different ways to count this. You can say that in different setups, you can say, okay, maybe we even had a wave 1 to the downside and a wave 2 to the upside, and it would do something like that. But for the wave 2 also, the 88.7 Fib level is a retracement level that's a bit too strong. So it makes it unlikely that this is this yellow setup. So I have never talked about that really. Then the other scenario or idea was, okay, what if this is the third wave and this is the fourth? For a fourth wave, this is too deep to be reliable. So we can also rule that out. That was also one that I didn't really focus on. And the last one that I had here on the chart, which was also the main focus, as long as we stayed below 27,150, was that of the May high here, the 23rd, we came down in an A wave, because I see the entire move down as an ending diagonal. The move that started on the 15th of May, ending diagonal, 3-wave structures. Yeah. So the idea was, okay, what if this is an A wave? We're moving up in a B wave and we come down in C. Now that's technically still possible. For a B wave, a little bit too high, but you know that B waves can provide fake breakouts. Now, if the A wave, however, is a 5-wave move, and it seems to be then a 5-wave move, then this is a little too high for a B wave. So that's why we need to consider different options. Just bear in mind that we have not invalidated this scenario. We have not invalidated the idea of a B wave. By the way, I'm looking at this still like a WXY structure. Just the subdivisions have moved a bit. It's still corrective to the upside, in my opinion, okay? But this scenario is not invalidated. So just be aware that unless we go above 27,700, we can still immediately go down. It's not an easy market. Did explain that to you as well. And it will be choppy and it won't be easy. Okay, but this is still a scenario which is live. However, probabilities are just in the process of shifting. So what are the other scenarios? Let's talk about them. The other scenarios are that we're dealing here with, let me just find that, either with the idea that wave 4 never finished, that's one scenario, and that this here is a WXY scenario, and that we just simply get a higher wave 4. Target wise, we can measure the length of the wave W. We go to the low of the X wave, and then we're looking for the 1-to-1 ratio at 27,714 is certainly a level to watch. That's anyway the dotted line, 27,700. And the 1.618, which would be a high wave Y, would take us to 28,861. Okay, so these are the levels to watch in this scenario. And this would be the idea where we get a high wave 4. Also corrective, and still afterwards a move down expected. Okay. If we get a WXY though, then we should at some point here see a deeper retracement, because if this is a W, one second, W, wave W, wave X, wave Y, then the Y wave would consist of 3 waves. Again, W, because we have a 3-wave move, X, Y. So we are looking for a deeper setback at some point. When we get that deeper setback, we can more accurately calculate the target to the upside. The only other, let's say, bearish scenario I'm watching for is this one, that we say the A, let me think, A, B, C, exactly. So that we had an A, B, C, but that the C wave did sit here. And this was a wave W. We are going to get a larger X wave and we come down in Y. I mean, this doesn't need to be WXY. This could also simply be a larger A, B, C. And that would push higher, okay? We need to see how high this is going to push, but certainly possibilities close to 30K. If we now make a little bit of movement, we can specify that a bit further, which means consequently that against the latest swing lows here, around 25,800, which was never broken, yeah, which was our last confirmation that we are finally going down, which was never broken, that we can just go a little higher and actually go quite high, depending on which structure is playing out. But we need to see a little bit more subdivisions to be able to make that call. First of all, I'd now be watching for the 27,700 level. And if broken, then the next swing high at around 28,500, which is then close to a higher wave 4. But it depends a little bit on the subdivisions, and the first deeper retracement will give us more clues. And it would also be good to get some clarity by, for example, breaking the 27,700 level. I would take the immediate sell-off scenario of the chart. That something more bullish is going on. I mean, could we already be breaking out? Could we already be in a bullish breakout? I don't necessarily see that. It is possible, as I said, and we can track it really if we go above 27,700, but it would mean that this move up of the May low would need to be a wave 1, but it would be a 3-wave move as part of a leading diagonal. The move down would be a wave 2. And I did give you that as possible tradable long trade setup, but it's an unreliable one. Then we would need to see a 3, 4, 5, however. And the problem with this scenario, and then I would want to see an ABC to believe it, okay? So this would need to prove itself, would need to do a lot of work. The problem with this count is not only that it's a leading diagonal, but also that price here on the 25th of May retraced and even broke below the 88.7 fib level, which for a wave 2 is too deep to be ideal. So that makes this bullish count less likely, okay? So in summary, we now have to be watching for, so in summary, my current scenario, which I've been showing you for the last few days, is not invalidated. Yes, we pushed a little higher, which makes it less likely, but I already prepared for you for a larger run, possibly here to 27,700 or sort of a little higher in the wave 4. Yeah, in case we push above 27,150, and I think this has become quite likely, but it's also not going to happen in a straight line, most likely not. It doesn't change anything in the higher level expectation to still see another low, but it makes it very, very difficult at this stage because this is just choppy price action, okay? For many altcoins, it would be good to see a decent recovery because they would finally hold their support level, or they would have a greater chance of holding their support levels because a lot of altcoins are very, very deep in support. So let's see. I mean, Bitcoin doesn't make it easy, certainly not, but I will keep an eye on that for you. I will observe that for you, and will most likely update the chart later. I would expect some more movement towards the end of the day because we are dealing here with the weekly candle close, where we typically see some more progress, and then we can also update the subdivisions maybe, and then we will be able to give some clearer targets to the upside. But first of all, I'd be watching for the 27,700 level now for a possible rejection, or at least next decision point. And then, as I said, the 1.618 extension, which is sort of up there around 28,900. Okay, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.